This is your one and only FireSpark81 with your daily dose of video goodness, and welcome back to another informational Valheim video. Today, I'm going to show you how to turn that boring build into an Instagram-worthy masterpiece. Let's get to it. So for many of you who have seen my build guides, you've probably realized that in those guides, once we are done the build, it never quite looks the same as it does in the thumbnail. That's because afterwards, I go through and I put a lot of little touches of detail into the thing to make it visually interesting for the thumbnail. Because if I was to put something like this in the thumbnail, you would probably either just completely ignore it or click it just so that you could comment about how trash my build is and that I'm terrible and should stop making videos. So I thought it would be cool for me to show you how I go about making builds more visually interesting so that if you wanted to do that to your build, or maybe you could learn something, I don't know, I thought it'd be a cool video. So we're doing it today. So we have a little basic build here. It's nothing special. It's more or less just a box with a roof on it. It's super boring. As you see here, looks absolutely terrible. So we're going to start off with stuff that you can do in the game. You don't need any admin commands, anything like that. And I'm going to show you what we can do just using that. And then I'm going to show you what we can do to it further using admin commands. So first off, these walls are boring. They have no real texture to them and they're kind of terrible. So let's add some depth to the walls. We're going to take this one here, the 45-degree wood beam, and you can see that it wants to snap right in there and it clips into the wall like that. So we're just going to do that. And we already are starting to see some texture there. So let's just do that now. And then let's put some beams down the side here just to kind of, so they don't have those horrible looking divots there. See how they have that like indentation where the walls come together? We're just going to put these here so we can add a bit of trim. Now, if you take a look here and you notice I have the line that goes through here where I've stacked the half wall on top of that. And if I put this here, that line continues there. But it's going to look better actually if we break that up. So what we want to do is put the 2 meter there and put the 1 meter at the bottom. That causes a bit of a breakup in that line that goes around there. So we're just going to do that around all of the sides here. And then what we want to do, since we have this little setup here, we want to do the same thing over here on this side. So let's just do that on this side here. And then we'll take our little one and put it there. Now I don't quite like the way that that comes together there. So I'm also going to put 2 meters there like that. And already the front of our building is starting to look a little bit better. It has more depth to it, more character. There's a lot more visual interest in what's going on there. Now we can continue that. We can put these here if we want to, and just, yeah, I think I like the way that looks. I don't quite like the way that it looks there in the center, but we can cover that up with something later. Now on this side, it's the same situation. It's just boring. It's just a boring flat face. So what we can do is we can do something like take the 45-degree again and see if we can get it to snap up top there like that. And it looks kind of like we have additional supports there going along the side. Now, I don't know why the game does this sometimes. It's like things overlap weird. So like this one goes behind and then this one does not. And I'm not sure why it does that. But when you have a situation like this, you don't photograph that thing. So if I was to photograph, I would photograph from like this angle here, and then you're not going to really notice that comes over to the side here. And once again, I'm not sure why it does that. It's just the way things end up clipping. You can see that this one here actually clipped behind and this whole thing clipped over. So actually let's delete it and see if we can get it to clip again. Yeah, no matter what I do, that's just what the game wants to do. So I don't know, we're just gonna go with it. Now what we can do is just take these across here like this, and that's looking pretty good. Now let's continue on. Let's just put some of these down the center. Now you don't wanna go too overboard, but just adding a little bit of something, I mean, it just gives it that little bit more, that little bit of oomph that you're looking for there. And I think we're looking pretty good there. So then we could just do this to all sides of the house, or if we're, we wanna look good on our server or whatever. But if we're just taking a photo, then we don't need to do them all. We just need the sides that we're looking at. So ideally when you're taking a photo, you don't want to take it straight on because that's boring. We want to take it at a slight angle. And as you can see, if we're looking at an angle here, that's looking pretty solid. Now what I would like to do is I would like to create a bit of a window. So let's see what we can do about putting in a window right here. So we're going to grab a half wall here and we're going to put a half wall there, and we already have a little bit of window outline there. So we're just going to continue that with something like this. There we go. We got a little bit of window. Now, if you don't want the window just straight open, a cool thing you can do is you can actually snap an iron gate in there, and then it looks like that. So you have a little bit of like the iron there guarding your window. I think I want to do something else with this side here though, just to break it up a little bit, kind of give it that asymmetrical look. And another cool thing that we can do with our windows is we can just break out that whole chunk there, and then we're going to take the 26-degree wood beam and we're going to hold down shift, and we're going to put that way up at the top like that. And then we can grab the stake wall, and what we want to do is line the stake wall up with the bottom of that. That's actually going to shove it down into the bottom piece there, so that we end up with just the stakes in the ground. And that's not quite where I want it. Let's try to snap it right there. Let's see how that looks. And then we'll just run the stake wall. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm looking for there. Push it back as far as we can against the wall there, and then place it down. And we end up with something like that. Oh, I got it just a little too far forward. I'm going to push it back just a little bit. And there we go. That's exactly what I'm looking for right there. Now, we can go and we can place this back like this, but then that's a little too much there. It goes down just a little too far and doesn't give us much of a window. What we can also do is place this like that, and then we can grab one of these guys right here and stick it to the underneath, and make sure it's flush with the side there like that. And then we'll grab another beam and we're just gonna eye it up, but it will push it out like that and create a cool little window effect. And then that should go away. And there we go. We got a nice little neat window there. So I know this isn't ideal, because ideally what you'd want is the same window over here, but I'm just doing this to show you this is a test house, so I can show you different techniques on how to do things. Now, this is all good and fine. And there's a lot of square angles here, and humans like to look at square angles, but we also don't like too much of the same thing. We like it to be broken up. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna create like a little garden area here. So I think what we're going to do is start from this spot right here. Is that snap? Yep, that snaps. So then we'll just go out like that, rotate in one, and we're just going to do this all the way around until it comes in and creates a circle. There we go. We got a nice little circle there. And now what we're going to do is we're going to swap over to our cultivator, and we are going to grab the cultivated ground thingy, and we're just going to make sure that it stays inside the circle here. And then we'll clean up this edge a little bit after we're done. And then we're just gonna plant some plants there. So you can plant whatever you wanna plant there that looks nice. I like these because they have the seeds, they have flowers. So we can just plant them. Now, don't plant them in a row. You wanna break them up. Just make them all kinds of random planted. Don't plant them directly in a circle either. Kind of offset them a little bit so we can plant one like that. Let's just put one of those there. There we go. So it's just kind of all filled in all different ways. Kind of like that. Now those are going to grow up. So let's skip some time and make that happen. There we go. That's looking kind of nice. We got a little something going there. I decided I didn't like the veggies, so I removed them and just put the seed plants back in there. All right, so we're starting to look pretty good. We're gonna do some more stuff with this here in a minute, but let's see about getting some path going here. So this paved road always looks really nice. So let's just get like a little paved road going here. That looks kind of nice there. Now we got a nice, it's not nice, but there is a solid straight line here where the map's coming together. Let's just make sure we get a little bit of paving over there like that so that we don't see that. We don't want to see that. That looks nasty. Now you'll notice that this levels the ground wherever it's at. So it doesn't level the same as you level. If we want to raise it, we can just kind of, you can see it goes up a little bit and shows you where it's going to go. So we want to just level the ground from here. Now, if your ground gets messed up and you don't like the way it's leveled, you can just go back through with the level tool and actually level it the way you want it. And that's something else I want to talk about, leveling and getting nice slopes. To get the nice slope, all you do is just stand on the side of your slope. So like right here, I don't like the way this looks. I want it to be a nice slope. So we're just going to walk down the way there and slope it out. And then it looks much nicer that way. Now we're going to go back through with this, and we're just going to place grass in here so that we don't see all this nasty dirt. We're just gonna cover all that back up with grass. There we go. And it's already looking a ton better, like massive amounts better than it did before, like so much better. And we're not even done. There's still a ton we can do. So I want to show you this cool little trick that I learned on Reddit. So we're gonna grab our hammer here. Let me repair my hammer. and we are going to grab the item frames or the item stand. So we want this one right here. You're gonna face all of these inward. So we're just gonna go like this, and we're gonna face it in, and then we're gonna line it up with the other one here, like that. And then we're gonna line this one up here like this. And then we're gonna put another one here on the front. And now we've created like a little box. Now what we wanna do is we wanna take this one and we wanna kinda see if we can get it to go lower. So it might be hard to see. Let me see if I can zoom in a little bit here so you can see what's going on. Okay, oh, nope, let's not put our hammer down. Okay, so we're gonna hold shift, and you can see if we hold shift, we can actually lower that down into the ground like that. And then you wanna take a Grey Dwarf Brute trophy, and we're gonna grab that. So let's put our hammer away. We wanna try to look at the bottom one there and do that. And you get like a cool little effect there, like it's a little box. I think we put it on the wrong one, so let me see if I can get it. We want it on the one that's sunken down. There we go. And now it looks like we have a cool little dandelion planter outside. So one of the things we can do is we can grab a cart, and I've shown how to do this before, but not for this purpose here. And then what we can do is we can just put some random stuff in the cart. It doesn't really matter what you put in there. What you are after is just these crates. So then what we're gonna do is we're gonna break the cart, and then the crates will fall to the ground. See how the crate has fallen to the ground? Now we can just push this around with our body here. So we'll just do something like that. Now, as long as we leave one of something in this, it will continue to stay there. And now what we're gonna do is we're gonna do the same thing again. We're gonna get a couple more of these and just put them around the outside here. So the more variety of things you have when you're doing the cart, the more boxes or crates you will get. So I'm just gonna put a bunch of stuff in here, a bunch of random things. Okay, now we have 2 crates. So I'm just gonna gently shove these over here. You gotta be kind of careful when you're shoving them because the physics gets a little wonky. And then we're gonna take this one and we're just gonna do the same thing. We're gonna shove this one over here as well. And then we'll come back over here, and I have a cart that I accidentally threw down the way here. We'll attach ourselves to the cart, and then we can pull the cart up here beside these and get it in a good looking position here. And then we can put some things inside this cart in order to get crates to show up inside the cart as well. There we go. Now we have a crate in the cart. It looks like we were unloading. So we've created an action there that without doing anything, you look at that and you know that, or you feel like that cart was being unloaded there. Now let's spruce things up with some trees a little bit, because trees just help break up the background a little bit. So we're gonna grab one of these beech saplings, and I'm just gonna put this right over here. And then I want another one kind of on this side of the house, because I'm gonna create like a little lumbering scene over here. So let's just put a couple of these. Let's grab, actually I think I'm just gonna do all of the beech. So we'll just do a couple like this. Those may be too close together. I don't know. I don't care. So now what I'm just going to do is I'm going to skip some time real quick. You would just naturally wait. Okay, there we go. And it looks like we lost one of those little saplings, but that's fine. Now let's create a cool little lumber scene over here. So we can grab a stack of wood. You would obviously have to go out and harvest your stack of wood, but let's put that right here at the back of the house so that we see just a glimpse of it when we're taking a shot from the angle here. So if we're angling like this, you can see we see a glimpse of wood there. So we know that wood is being stacked behind the house. Then what we can do is we can come over here to our crafting. We can grab a workbench, and then we can grab this bad boy right here, the chopping block, and we can put that right there beside the house. So that's looking pretty good. Then we can delete our workbench because we don't need it anymore, because we just want that there, and you can't place it without the workbench. You could do the same thing with the adds too. If you wanted the adds there instead, it's just whichever one you prefer. The other thing we can do is we can do the same thing with the forge cooler. So let's place a forge there, and let's put this right here. So it looks like we were using this bucket for something related to the crops. So there we go. Now we have a cool little bucket there, and we can come over here to the furniture, and let's put a stool right here, just by the chopping block like that. And then on this side, let's see what we can do to kind of just spruce up this side a little bit here. What we could do is grab an item frame and we will place it just like that. And then we'll take a cultivator and we will look at it and we will just put that down like that. Now it looks like we have the cultivator there next to the garden. Like that's our working tool for working the garden. Now we really haven't done a whole lot of crazy stuff to this build. And already look at that scene that we've created already. It looks absolutely fantastic. So when you're looking at a scene like this, you have to look at the little details and ask questions like, what can we do to create more interaction here in a scene where there is no movement? Well, one of the things is like over here, you wouldn't have a bunch of grass over here because obviously you're going to be stepping back and forth a lot here if you're using this as like your lumber area. So what we want to do is come over here to our path in tool and we're just going to kind of just do this just a little bit, nothing too crazy. Just inch back that grass just a little bit there so it looks a little more interactive. You're not going to have a bunch of grass there because you're stepping around here all the time. Now for the front of the house where we have this nasty mess here that we don't like, let's take care of that real quick. So we're going to grab our item frame. We're going to put that right there, right smack dab in the center. And then we're going to drop a shield on it, a wooden shield, so it kind of goes in with the house a little bit. There we go. So it just covers up that mess a little bit there. Now, we could have done that over here, but we broke out this chunk of the wall here, and we don't have that is the exact same over there anymore. So it's kind of okay over there. It doesn't really matter. Now, if you don't like the shield there, the other thing we could do is use an item stand, and we can face the item stand backwards. So we can just line that up with the center there and have it face backwards, and then we end up with that instead. So it's whichever you prefer. I kind of like the shield better. I feel that it adds a little more depth overall. So this next trick I'm going to show you is going to involve us messing up the ground a little bit here, and we're going to have to fix it back, but it's going to look really cool when we're done. So what we're going to have to do here is we're going to grab our level tool, and we're actually going to bring the level of the ground down a little bit. Actually pretty far as you can get it to go down, and you can see it's pretty low there now. Now what we want to do is we want to grab our just normal wooden torches, and we are going to place one like that, and then one right there, and then actually I want to get that just a little lower because it's not going to look quite right there. Let's see if we can get it just a little lower, and then we will place the other one right here like that. Now what we want to do is we want to bring that back up to where it was. So you can see now we've taken those torches and we've turned them in from large ground torches, standing torches, into little tiny torches that are just barely poking up out of the ground. There we go. I had to work with it a little bit to get them just right, but now I got them to a point where I like them and it looks kind of cool. So now we got a little bit of a lit pathway there. All right, and there we go. And with just a little bit of work, you can see we've taken this from being a plain boring house to something that's actually visually interactive to look at. Now you can take a screenshot simply by holding down Control and hitting F3. That's going to remove the HUD. And if you want to go into dev commands, if you can do that, you just type in dev commands like so, and then you hit enter and that will activate dev commands. And then you can just type in free fly. And when you do that, that pops you out of the camera or out of your person, and then you have the free fly camera and you can line up and take the perfect screenshot that you want to take. Now, if you don't want to do the dev commands, you don't have to do that. You can take a screenshot, with your person in there and then just, have your person in there. You can zoom all the way in so that you can do something like that and then eventually like cut them out, crop the photo, whatever you want to do. So let's talk about doing stuff with spawning stuff in now, because there's a bunch of different items that you can spawn in to do even more to what we've done here. And I'm going to post all of those down in the description. So let's start off with replacing this. So we have this here. We can actually replace that with some cooler stuff. So let's get that out of there and let's put a barrel there. So once you've activated dev commands, then you're just going to type in spawn barrel. And you can see it drop down a barrel there. I don't quite like where that's at. Oh, nope, I don't really like that either. So, and by the way, everything that I'm showing you here that to spawn in, all of it is destructible. None of it will ruin your world. I went through and tested all of this stuff just to make sure that nothing was going to be permanent. So you can destroy everything that is in this list. Okay, there we go. Now I got it that time. All right, so there we go. Now we got a cool little barrel there. We can also come over here and we can put a barrel in over here. It would look kind of cool to go along with all of the crates that we have here and break up all of those squares. That's not where I wanted it. Let's try that again. There we go, something like that. And then we can kind of just gently nudge this out of the way. There we go. Looking pretty good. Now there's other boxes that are just like this that we can actually spawn in instead of those. I'm not going to leave them in the build, but I'm going to show you them. So in the spawn one of these in, we're going to type in spawn and then that right there. And then that's pretty much the same box as there, except it doesn't do anything. You can't interact with it. You can't store anything there. But if you just wanted to spawn them in instead of dealing with the cart, you can do that. Now I want to remove some of these and get some berry bushes in here because I like the way that the berry bushes look. So we're going to just pull a couple of those out of there. And then we're going to stand right about here and we're going to type in spawn BlueberryBush, and it's going to be up in the air like that. But if you just wait a minute, it will eventually fall down because they don't like to be up in the air. There we go. That looks pretty good. And we'll let that go in there. And then we're going to delete this and we're going to spawn in a bush. So I think this is the bush that we want, but it may not be. So there we go. Yep, that's exactly the one I want. Once again, it spawns high, but it will fall down. And then now over here for this scene, let's make this look a little more used. Let's get this tree out of the way. And then we're just going to type spawn and that and hit enter. And then that will eventually fall as well and settle into the ground. Now it looks like there was a tree there that we chopped down. It looks a little bit more interactive. It opens it up a little bit more too because we don't have both trees there. And let's see about getting a rock right here. So we're going to type spawn rock _4. There we go. Got a rock there now. Now let's take a look at where we're going to take the screenshot. So we're going to take the screenshot right about there. There we go. Look at that. Look how in the rock, yeah, the rocks settle. All of the stuff that you spawn in on that list should settle. That's like, you know, rocks, trees, all of that stuff should eventually settle into the ground. And there you go. Look at that. That looks freaking awesome. And there's one other thing that I want to show you that I really like to use when I'm doing these kind of things, and that's the bucket. We can put that, let's see, let's get that right. Actually, let's put that next to the barrel so it looks like we're taking stuff out of the barrel. So we're just going to stand right here, type spawn bucket. Yeah, there we go. Look at that. Okay, so now we want to take a screenshot. We just come in like this. And let's see, you can roll the middle mouse button when you're in this free fly mode to slow down how quickly you move as well. So we can just go something like that. And there we go. And then we would just take that screenshot. I'm actually gonna, because of the way my thumbnails are, we'll take the screenshot for the thumbnail right now. There we go. And that's all there is to it. And you can see how we took that super boring just box build and just elevated it and made it actually worth taking a screenshot of and looking at. And there's so much more we can do this. We can just go through and put in more detail and more detail. But I think this is a good one. If you guys really like this video, I'll do another one on this kind of thing with other things. Maybe I'll do one about changing your inside because right now this is hollow inside. And there's a lot of things that we did on the outside that we would need to fix, like how you can see these through the wall. We would need to thicken that up, and just a lot of different little techniques and things and tips and tricks that we can do on making your inside look even better. But yeah, so check out the list for stuff if you want to just spawn stuff in for creative, so you can do cool things like with the bushes and stuff like that. And then the tree stump, there's a whole list of different things down there. And once again, don't worry, it's all destructible, so you won't spawn anything in that's going to ruin your map. And I hope you all found this helpful and informational. And if you did, consider hitting the subscribe button, notification bell. Let me know down there in the comments if you liked the video. Besides hitting the thumbs up button, I like to hear your comments, and especially if you want to see more on other ideas and like different styles and all that good stuff. All right, that is going to wrap it up for this episode. If you like what you saw, consider hitting that sub button. I want to give a big thank you to my patrons for making this episode possible. Y'all are absolutely amazing people. If you would like to join my elite crew of Patreon supporters, please check out the link in the description below. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a comment down below. Let me know what you thought. If you're shy, you don't like to comment, just hit that thumbs up button and show your support. Until next time, thanks for watching.